What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday in the last week of December. Don't mind me. I'm staring at my phone so I can get this post shared with as many people as we can right now so we can be sure to add value. I've got the incredible Christmas lighting legend, Ryan Fox, in the house with me. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a incredible season, and I can't believe what we were like looking forward to all year is already gone, and now we have to go back to the anticipation of waiting again.
Yeah, I know it's like a cycle, right? But like we get all hyped up for it, and then like it comes, and then it's gone, just like Christmas is, and then you're like, but what? We're done already? But then at the same time, you're like, oh, we're done already,
Yeah,
right? Like it's like a double edged sword there.
yeah, I know it's been. It was definitely been an interesting season. I feel like it creeped up real slow as we were trying to prepare for the season, thinking that we had all this time like we do every year. It's like we have all these plans to get all this stuff done. And unfortunately, on most of the things, I was like, I got plenty of time. I got plenty of time. And then all of a sudden, there was no time. So there were still a few things that we fell short with this season. So that kind of sucked. But we still had an incredible season. Excited to talk about it. For all the viewers that are joining, welcome. Please, we want to get as much engagement, interaction with the listeners as we can. If you have not given StreamYard access to know who you are, right now I only see Facebook users, so I don't know who you are, but I'll try and jump over to Facebook and see this. But go ahead and comment. We want everybody to engage as much as possible here. This way we can get questions asked. We want to talk about some wins. We want to talk about some losses. We'll talk about how many installs you did. We'll try and keep this around an hour. I know everybody's got a busy week. Maybe they're taking some time off with the family, some well-deserved time. Maybe you're working today. I got one guy who's at the gym working out, which I love that. Awesome. So we're kind of go through all this, but please go ahead and just start commenting. Let us know where you are, who you are, and who's listening to us, because this is for you. We want to provide as much value for you at the end of the season, and talk about ways you could still get some extra revenue coming in. I'm not talking tens of thousands of dollars, but even a couple $1,000s extra over the next couple weeks while you're doing installs, and then how you can set up a recurring revenue from your current customers and previous prospects who told you no, to get you money saved up over the next 10 months to help prepare and budget for your early buy with your Christmas lights. So still plenty of opportunity to seize on this. The season's not over, essentially, but we're going to talk about all that. So Ryan, again, just welcome. We've got a lot of people chiming in already, so we'll kind of get through all this. But Ryan, I love talking about wins, and I love talking about losses even more than wins lately, for a lot of reasons. One, to be vulnerable and let everybody know, hey, like, even though you think you see what perfection may look like, or you think you see what you want to strive for, there's still so many things that everybody can be doing better, and ways that we fall short. I mean, I opened this up saying that we fell short on a lot of things. I didn't get some videos for our clients prepared to send off to them, like I said I was going to do. I fell short on that, so that made some work at my office even more labor intensive, because they were having to do just so many steps for helping customers that were having issues, when if I had done that video, it would have been alleviated with one video. Like, my lights are out. I've got this perfect video in my head. It's going to be, me standing in front of a house with the lights on, and show the client, all right, this is what you want to come home to at night. And then we get calls like, hey, my lights are out. Well, what is it? One light? Is a few lights? Is all lights? And then show them, like, if all your lights are out, then it's more like a GFCI. And just break down those simple questions that we kept getting emails and text after rainstorms that could have helped alleviate a lot of phone calls and possibly some stress from some of our clients. So definitely fell short there. But I'd say the biggest loss that we hit this year was our revenue goal. And I know you had some serious growth this season. We were shooting for $1.2 million this season. And, we lost a lot of clients this season, whether it's from them moving or just finding some cheaper companies, because the local installers are definitely on the rise in my area. So we did lose a lot of customers from that point of view. But we did break the 7 figures, which is incredible. Finally, that was a huge number for us to be striving for a
That's
long
huge.
time. We missed it last year, but falling short of that 1.2. I won't say it's a huge loss, but it's when you're just trying to get everything lined up and you have this number in your head and you just it's hard as the business owner. It wasn't our number on paper for the team, but it was a number in my head that I wanted to strive for this season.
It's your big, hairy, audacious goal, right?
Was that?
It was your big, hairy, audacious goal, your BHAG.
It was. It really was. And, I'm still incredibly proud of my team for breaking the 7 figures. I mean, we're in a small market, and I love what we do here. But that was like just a big, like, JC, you could have done better. Like, you could have done a couple other things to better market, to reach out to customers, to work with yeah, this is recorded. This is you'll be able to watch the replay later today, tomorrow, whatever. But yeah, that was like the big number that it's in me internally, the things I could have done better this season to set us up for better success. So that was probably my biggest internal loss.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me, JC, we just had our debrief with our leadership team last week. And we didn't hit our goal either. There were some issues. We had some stuff in the office. They started reaching out to past clients early, but then they kind of stopped reaching out. And there was a period there of like a month that I don't think much got done. And then we brought it up to their attention, and we're kind of playing catch up then, rather than being proactive. We were being reactive at that point, and then it just snowballed everything from there. We didn't get the crew leaders hired in time because we didn't have as many jobs on the books, and a lot of the people wound up booking still. It was just late into the season, so they would have been earlier installs, and so then it just snowballed everything, and then a lot of things went. We did, while we didn't hit our goal of 1.7, I think we came in just under 1.4 million, so we grew like a little over 200,000 this year, which is still great, but we didn't hit our goal. It's because we were one crew less than I wanted to have on the road, and so when I sit back and I look at that, is failure. Our society thinks failure is a bad thing. Failure just means we get to try again, right? So we learned what didn't work. We learned what we don't need to do. We learned where the holes are. What do we need to do better, and how can we make that system better? So that's what we talked about in our meeting. How can this make sure this doesn't happen again? And how can then we can start off on the right foot? So now we do level 10 meetings. Leadership meetings every week. So now we have all of our stuff lined out, and we're going to have it numbered of what stuff we want to work on between now and next season. And we're going to have goals set and say, hey, this needs to be done by this date. This needs to be done by this date. So be very intentional on what we're doing and why we're doing it. Like you're talking about the videos and stuff. There were some videos that Brett even admitted that, he fell short on getting out for the guys and for clients and stuff. We did a lot of things better than we did last year, but there's a lot of things we could have done even better. So how can we pivot and do even better going into 2024 season? And that's what I look at is, yes, we still grew, we still can celebrate it, and with the teams, and everybody had a good, we did $200,000 more revenue with the same crew as we did last year.
Yeah, that's
actually less people, which that's a win. So you want to celebrate those wins, but at the same time though, like I'm with you, we didn't hit our goal. So that drives me even harder this year to say, hey, let's do that goal even bigger, and and now everybody's on board, right? Because now we can see that goal post. We move it, but we can see it, and let's all go work towards that goal.
Yeah. And for all our viewers listening, go ahead and drop a comment below. Drop a loss, something that you didn't win on the season, something that you were striving for. Maybe you didn't hire enough technicians. Maybe you didn't reach your goal. Maybe your average ticket was too low. Whatever it can be, just go ahead and put it out there, because transparency is key, and knowing that you're not alone is so important to be able to keep pushing forward. And then you might be able to connect with somebody else that had the same experience as you as well too. Joe, I did last year. I think we were like 940 something. It was somewhere around there. Mr. Trevor, what's going on? So yeah, I think it's so important to talk about that and not just sit there and keep that to yourself, because it's important to be vulnerable. It's important to know that other business owners out there are suffering, going through the same thing as you, and to be able to talk about that, will open up the air and open up discussion and dialogue for you to be more successful. And I know without a doubt, like without Beyond the Bulbs and everybody within that group, like we wouldn't have done the things that we did this year regardless, because of the teamwork, the collaboration that we were able to have within that group and the monthly meetings, and even just the constant daily messaging amongst all the members in Beyond the Bulbs. It was a huge motivation, and there were so many ideas that came out from the members within the group that I'm like, holy shit! And like instantly, I think it was Josh one day. He did something. He posted within this community, just introducing himself and the services that he offered. He wasn't trying to sell anything, but he just introduced it. And I went and did that and executed that out within like an hour and shared that with every single Facebook group and every single Nextdoor, group I could. And just little things like that with the collaboration amongst everybody within Beyond the Bulbs definitely contributed to our success this season.
Oh yeah, hands down. I mean, I really love getting on that group because number one, we get to help other people with their business, and I know me and you both, and Brett and Matt love doing that, and we have a knack for helping others. But I can generally say every time we get on a call, I take something away from that call, and sometimes it's I tell somebody to do something. It could be something as I tell somebody to do something. I'm like, you know what? I don't think we're really executing on that 100%. I'm sitting here telling them that they need to execute on this, but you know what? We could probably do a little better. So now I go into our leadership meeting and I'm like, hey guys, I think we need to clean this up or we need to do better on this. And so it keeps us accountable as well. It's that can't speak enough about that group and the people in there and the conversations we have and stuff. It's very genuine and everybody wants to see everybody level up and win, which is huge too.
Yeah. All right. So got a lot of great comments in coming here. Jeremy didn't hit his goal either. And it's okay, though. I mean, you doubled your revenue compared to last year. That's a huge friggin' win.
Yeah.
And that's hard for a lot of new companies to do that because they get scared and they just want to play it safe and say, well, I did $100,000 last year. Let me do 125,000. I don't know what your numbers were, Jeremy. But that's a lot of what we saw, especially when Beyond the Bulbs in the beginning, that like their numbers were just a bit more than last year because they're trying to play it safe. But I'd rather have a far-fetched goal and just shoot for the moon than just sit here and just try and lob a pitch hit and just, say, all right, cool. We hit our goal because we did 10 grand more. Struggle to gain additional commercial properties. That was a big one for a lot of people, Jeremy, even ourselves. I mean, we did go after commercial a lot and, didn't get the answers we wanted. I mean, we sent out so many estimates in commercial. Yeah, we're interested this year. And then we sent out the estimate and, same thing. Everybody took a hit this year with finances, especially the commercial side of things. So it was hard, but you can't stop pushing. Like, I mean, 2 of my biggest commercial clients took me 3 to 4 years to get, and I'll still go after every single no we got.
I think I was going to add that we hired that account executive, Dawn, and we hired her in July, so I'm really excited to see what she can do this year for us. But her only job really is to go after commercial. For Christmas lights, she's going to help with landscape lighting. That's her job. So she's building a portfolio. She's going after them. She's making connections. She's reaching back up with them. Hey, we'll go by and look at the jobs and see what they looked like this year. She already reached out to one of them and said, hey, were you happy with what they were doing? Blah, 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 this and that. And there he was like, well, kind of. But commercial, like JC said, one of our biggest jobs, it took 3 years from when I made the contact to when we got the contract. And now we've had them for 6 years. They've repeated. They signed a second, third-year deal the other year, and so I think it's 5 years, 6 years, something like that. I don't know, but the sales cycle is a lot longer. But that's a 6-figure job, and so it takes longer for that. So for her, that's what her job is. We have a goal for this year of her to add 450,000 of new commercial business this year, whether it's landscape lighting, Christmas lights, whatever. That's her goal this year. So we did add one big job this year. It was $73,000, and then we added a city for another $73,000. So we added both of those commercial jobs this year. So, and she had a hand in those. So that's a huge win for us. But that's what we're really going over. So maybe in a month or two, JC, let's do another one of these where we just talk about adding commercial stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're going heavy after commercial this year, and we're not waiting till July. We can talk about that later on. But yeah, Bobby, I don't know your process. Are you talking about commercial, residential? And our AR is incredibly low. I mean, we still have. I'm looking at it right now. We have $9,000 outstanding, and it's all. Let me see here. Apartment, one job they pay when they take down the lights. Apartments, and then two of them are service fees. So no, I mean, we require credit cards on file for every single customer. The only outstanding AR we typically ever have is from apartment complexes. Those are probably the worst pain to us just because they're usually 30, 45 days. But other than that, no. So maybe we can just kind of jump on a chat, Bobby, see how you're doing that. But it's a requirement for any customer of ours, residential, commercial, to have a credit card on file to avoid those issues, because it's just a matter of hitting close out that invoice and it's paid. So
most of ours I just looked, our HOAs, but we just got like a $7,000 check in the mail today. So all of ours is mostly commercial. I think there's like 2 or 3 residentials, and that's it. So it's very little residential. It's mostly commercial stuff.
Let's see. Didn't our goal 500, hit 345 in year 3. That's incredible. Holy cow. 3. Yeah. I wish we did that our third year. I think we did. I think it was 75,000 my third year.
Mark's in Southern Cal, so he's in a good market there.
We didn't chase commercial much this year. Well, it's a good thing the year is just about to begin, and you can chase it all in 2024. All right, let's talk about a win. So go ahead and drop your wins below. We got a bunch of comments in here, trying to get through all of them. But talk about some wins that you want to celebrate this year. Ryan, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, so one of our biggest wins, well, I told you about the 2 commercial ones, so that was a huge win for us. So that was really exciting. And I hired a salesman, man, and right before Halloween and middle of October, and he's freaking killed it. And he just hit the ground running, and he's been out, and he was selling. His average ticket was like just under $2,800. He just told me. We were talking about it, and he was selling, $5,000, $6,000, $9,000 jobs, residential jobs and stuff. So I'm teaching him the landscape lighting. We went out and just did a bid, and we did 2 yesterday. So we're really excited about that. I'd say that's a huge win for us. And then, we had really good crews. Honestly, we had some really good culture. Our culture's really dialed in, and we had really good crew members and techs, installers. And so I'd say that was our other big win is, just everybody getting along, getting the job done, and being efficient. So.
Yeah, for sure. And along the lines, kind of what you discussed earlier too, is, and I didn't really put this, I didn't make sense of this until I did my speech at the huge convention, when I actually did my growth year over year. And I would put up the company pictures, and every single year, once we started growing our company, the amount of people on our team was decreasing, but our sales was increasing. And this year, same thing. Our total installs decreased. I think we did 417 last year. I just did the numbers. We did 399 installs this year. So our installs decreased, our revenue increased, and the amount of technicians installing decreased as well. So that's a huge win from within the team, because we did have a lot of key players come back this year, which definitely contribute to that. A lot of experience out there, which made having crew leaders getting trained up was just, a matter of getting them back on the truck. So that was a huge win too. But just being able to see that, like, we took a hit in installs, but our revenue increased, which means our average ticket increased. And obviously the amount of training we gave our guys had an impact on the installs, so they can do more throughout the day. So I do love seeing that. Lost 22 customers last year, but replaced them all. Losing customers is not always a bad thing. I tell you, sometimes we celebrate losing customers. So, Yeah, Todd, man, you were on fire this season. I love seeing your growth, and look forward to catching up here later on the season.
Yeah, I was talking to him during the season, and he was like, "Man, we're selling more. We're selling this. We're doing that." And he was like so excited because he's just south of us here in Georgia. So he was doing great, man. It was awesome to see that.
It's my new favorite toy, my hydrogen water maker.
Ah.
All right, so let's get to the meat of this. I mean, we want to talk about ways to add revenue. The season is not over because we got to take everything down. And this is something that we started implementing last year. We did not have a lot of great traction with this one little add-on feature because we didn't really know how to push it other than like we would just kind of put it in our estimates at the bottom. And, what goes up must come down. And like I said, we have 399 installs that we have to take down. And we find that we let our customers know we want to be transparent with them, saying, hey, we start our installs the first week of January, right after New Year's, and we will guarantee your lights down by February 1st. That's all we can guarantee you. We go in we go in zip code order from the closest to the shop to the furthest away. Each crew gets their own, I'll go through this once we get there. They get their own binder with all their highlighters in there, their sheets for the totes, and every house in order. But come the second week in January, third week in January, we get customers emailing, texting, when are you going to come get our lights down? When are you going to get our lights down? And it's just, it drives the office insane because we told them in email, we told them in text message that we don't have a date. We're just going to start. So last season, we implemented an automatic add-on option for our customers. It was $150 that they wanted to keep their lights up longer than February because we're guaranteeing by February 1st we'll have the lights down. And some customers want to keep them up through March. They just love Christmas that much. But we also offered a priority takedown to guarantee that your lights will be down by the end of the first week in January. So I think it is what this year is.
The 5th is Friday.
The 5th. And I think we might have said the 8th because we don't have Monday, but we'll still have them down by the 5th. So if you wanted to be a priority takedown, and let me show you real quick what it looked like in our estimates. I'll pull it up. Let's see, percent. Let me see. Can you see this? Nope. I got to do this. Hold on. Let me pull it over here. So we let them know it'd be $150 to take their lights down the first week of January, or it'd be $150 extra to keep their lights up after February. So last year we didn't push it. Let me just share it real quick. Oh, come on. Oh, I know why.
While you're doing that, I was going to touch on it too. We did it too, and so you get some people that want to push it and that want it. And so what it does too is it sets the precedence with all the other clients that if they start calling you in the middle of January and saying the lights aren't down and they're mad, you say, "Oh, well, did you get our email or our text or however you reach out to them?" And they're like, "That said if you wanted a priority, you had to pay this money." And they're like, "Well, yeah." And they're like, well, you didn't opt for that, so then you go into the anytime in January pool. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, next year if you wanted us to take it down priority, you just got to respond to that, and then we'll take it down that first week. So I like that part of it too.
Yeah, and that's it. So this was in our estimate here that we sent. Every new customer got to see this, but then we found that we didn't get this out to our current customers, which was a bulk of our customers. So the new 100 or 50, whatever it was, clients last year got to see this option, but everybody previous to that didn't. So what we did last week, a week and a half ago, is we sent out an email to our clients. We did two things. We wanted to let them know that the last day of any maintenance calls was going to be Friday at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. on the 23rd, right? The 22nd. So we didn't receive any information about their lights having issues. We weren't going to go out there because we're taking the whole next week and a half off. And also, if they did not sign up for the early takedown, guaranteed early removal, then don't ask us when your lights are coming down. We're going in zip code order, and we'll get to you when we get to you. And again, this didn't add a $10,000 increase in revenue. I think it was around $4,500 we did add between the early takedowns and the late takedowns. So it's not going to increase the needle by a huge amount, but it did help out enough to kind of push it and at least pay for some of our guys' labor costs next week, because we all know in January there's no revenue coming in. So anything you can do to get some revenue coming in, and you still have tomorrow. Tomorrow's a great opportunity to send this out to your clients. Get them an email and just get them prepared. Hey, we're going to start doing our takedowns next week. If you want to guarantee your lights down, you can do $200. You can do $300. You can do $100. I don't care what you do, but everybody wants their lights down fast. They want it down early. They want it down now. Well, you're putting that option for them. If they want to be a priority, then they need to pay for that $150. And even if you get 10 people to sign up for it, they don't know that you're going to be done within 10 days. They don't know how many customers you have to take down, but they just know that, hey, I want my lights down. I don't want to wait another week. So here's $150 extra. And it can't hurt. What's the worst they say? No, just take them down whenever. And if they say, take my lights down last, that's even better, because then you can put some other customers ahead of them. So just one quick, easy way that you can still take some action and implement this now for your customers and possibly get some revenue, but definitely something you want to integrate into your estimates next year. And when you're rescheduling your clients for 2024, go ahead and ask them during the time of schedule, did you want to do an early takedown guarantee? Yes or no? All right, no, well then you're in the queue. So you can help avoid those questions, emails, comments, phone calls.
I was going to add one thing to it too.
Go ahead.
We are actually taking lights down right now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And why we do that is it's training. So we use these 3 days as training for our crews. So then when we come on the second, we start taking down, everyone's trained up. So we have about 30, 35 jobs, if I have to remember correctly, between the 3 days, between our crews coming down. What we do when we send that letter out, we tell them, hey, we have this 3 days right here. That can be early takedown that you don't pay for. And so we use it as our little training, and then we get that many jobs done in December. My guys will get paid, make some money in between Christmas and New Year's. A lot of them want to make some money. There's a couple of people that had off and whatnot. That's okay. One guy was off yesterday. One guy's off tomorrow. That's fine. I don't care. Not everybody has to necessarily be here, but we can use it as training. We get some jobs down, and then we hit the ground running on the second, kind of work our kinks out. So that way, when we hit the second, we're got packed schedule. And they're ready to go. So if you want to do that, you can do that. We kind of started doing it because our guys were installers were asking for stuff, so making money between Christmas and New Year's every year. So we're like, okay, let's just start doing this. And then we had a lot of clients that wanted it. They just took down a huge $17,000 neighborhood yesterday in a couple hours. So yeah, that's done. Awesome. So.
Yeah. So go ahead, get an email out today. Get an email tomorrow to your current customers. And follow up next week, too, with a text message or something. But just get it out there. Let us know if you get any success from that. Like I said, even if you add 10 customers to it, $1,500 or whatever you put your number at, it doesn't have to be 150. 150 just seemed like a safe number for me, for people to say, yes, I will pay $150 not to see my lights up for another week, because you do have those clients that want them down, and they want them down now. Well, great. If you want them down, $150. And when they call next week and say, hey, I want my lights down early, we'll probably do a $75 fee as well if they want to bump their name up after the first week in the queue and not just wait till their name comes up in the zip code order. Because last year, our office was just like, all right, we'll get you on the list. And then the guys would have to shoot over a little bit further than they normally would for the day and then come back and continue on with that pass. So, all right. So talked about that. Talked about some wins. We talked about losses. Real quick, I want to talk about ways to set up reoccurring revenue from now, January, till the season kicks back off in October. A lot of things a lot of problems come from cash flow. Some guys, they make enough money to pay for the labor. They make enough money to pay for the materials. They have a little bit of profit. And, some guys just aren't good with money. I'll raise my hand. Not great with money. I like to spend a lot of money. So having some cash flow throughout the year does a couple things. One, it sets up that buffer for you to have some cash flow to be able to purchase things throughout the year that you need to set up for marketing. Big thing is a down payment on Christmas light inventory. Most of the distributors will have their preseason buy, where oftentimes you have to put down 10, 20, 30% of whatever your preseason buy is in January, February, March. And that will oftentimes deplete somebody's cash flow, their inventory. their whole reserve, so they don't have anything left for the rest of the year. January is an incredible time while you're doing the takedowns to not only interact with your customers and say, hey, thank you for a great season. I appreciate you being a customer of ours. Do you want to get on a payment plan now and help break up the payment or your Christmas light install over the next 9 to 11 months? A lot of customers like that because when you're trying to throw out a number like $2,500, $4,000, $9,000, for some customers, that's a lot of money to shell out during the busiest time of year for spending money. So now if we can put it on a payment program, it'd be like a zero interest payment program. You're helping them out. You're getting residual income coming in every single month from all those customers. And you're going to have some extra cash flow to help with that pre-buy. So just a simple email we're sending out. Let me see if I can actually pull this one up. Hopefully I can do this one. Here we go. Dear customer's name. So you're sending this out to your customers, but we're not doing just the customers as well. We're also going to be doing to our prospects. So here's the email that we use for our customers. Real simple. And we're just telling them exactly what we're offering them. We're offering them a payment program to set up over 9 to 11 months. Depends on when they do the install for their lights. The one thing that, I like right here is we're going to give them a discount if they go ahead and install the lights the first 2 weeks of October. It's not a discount they can stack on any other discount they've ever had. So they can only get this discount once. If they had it this year, they're not going to get another 10% discount. But for all our new customers that we acquired in 2023, they can take advantage of this. Or the ones that didn't know about it for whatever reason this year can jump on that train too. And this year, we're actually going to really try and push our September install. So we are going to do a 15% discount. It's kind of crazy. I completely agree. And I want to try it out and see how good crazy can work. So we're going to offer a 15% discount. And really what we're doing is just incentivize them. So if they're signing up now, they're going to get payment program over the next 9 to 11 months. Our average ticket was $2,400. So break that up over 10 months. It's about $240 a month they're paying versus shelling out $1,200 for their deposit and $1,200 on the install. So I think it makes it attractive for customers to want to stay a customer, and they'll help keep revenue coming in through the season. And if we can get 30, 40 customers out of 400 to sign up to that, and their average ticket was $2,000, that's 30 times 240, that's $6,400 a month coming in, somewhere around there. Don't do the math. Don't quote me. I'm not a genius here, but you've got $6,000 of residual income coming in every single month over the next 10 months. That's a huge buffer right there to help out. So don't just focus on your customers. Let me pull this one up to make sure you're hitting up your prospects, the ones that told you no, because they're still a possible customer for you. They were interested in your services. Maybe they didn't use anybody. Maybe they went with another company and they weren't happy, but they know that you were more expensive, and now that you're offering a payment program, so be sure to reach out to them. And
we also keep a list of people that say no because it was too late in the season, too much money at that late in the season or whatnot, or they just said, I don't have the finances this year, but I'm going to save up for next year. We reach out to them early in the season, and so this would be a great letter to reach out to them, and they might bite on it, So sometimes they just want a client right then. You know what I'm saying? Is what you're saying. So they could be a client in future.
Yeah, because if you're telling me, hey, I got to shell out $2,400 for some lights in November, that's a big number to swallow. If you're going to tell me I have to pay $240 a month, to get lights up in November or even October, well, shoot, I spend more on that in wine in a month. That's easy for me to do it that way. So by offering it to your customers instead of just letting them tell you no, well, one, you already paid for that lead. So you already shelled out the $20, $30, $40, however you got that lead for that possible customer. And you just don't know the experience they had after they told you no. Maybe they didn't do the lights. Maybe they ended up traveling. Maybe they're just curious, and it was kind of like Ryan said, it was too late in the season. They didn't want to wait till December 15th to put their lights up. So get it out there, entice them with it, and send that email out several times over in January. Just change the email up, send a text message as well, and do a voicemail bomb. Let's see. Sometimes you have to contact them more than once to get their attention on the payment program. Yeah, exactly. And put it on social media as well, too. If you do, your direct mail, send out direct mail postcards to them too. It's not something we do often, but it might be a good way to do it. How did you manage the payment front? I tried Square. Yeah, Square really does suck for that. I think some CRMs do have an option in there, but because it was so new to us last year, Kendra, Liz in the office, she just had an Excel spreadsheet and was just charging them every single month. So we would like to dial that in better so we don't have to do that, especially if you're pulling in 34 clients. So get with your CRM. There might be an option with that. I just wish Square did have a better option. I know Stripe does. So you use Stripe.
Yeah, I can add that real fast. For Beyond the Bulbs, we use Stripe, and it's a recurring payment. And you have to go in, and it takes a little time to build it the right way. But it's not like crazy hard to do. But you go in and you build it up, and you set the different. You would have to set up like for Beyond the Bulbs, we have different levels. So I set it up with that one. You're going to have to set up each client is going to be a different price. So you're going to have to set up reoccurring payment for each client at a different price. Does that make sense? Unless you want to set them up like say, hey, if you're over this amount of price, you pay $250 a month, and your last payment's going to be whatever's left. Something. You could do something like that and make it easier. But it just takes a little time to build it up. And once it's set, it automatically charges them. So you don't have to worry about it. You would just go in your dashboard and, check to see if everything's hitting or whatnot. So,
yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't be an issue for us to be able to implement that. John just messaged me that he's working with somebody in Responsibid right now to set up the reoccurring payments as well, too, with Andrew Miller. So that might be an option, too. But yeah, if you had to jump over to Stripe just for a few customers to set up that reoccurring revenue and still use Square, that's not a huge issue to be able to do that. So again, a couple ways to get some extra revenue for the rest of the season. Implement the priority takedown. $150 is what we're doing. Let the customers know if you want your lights down by a certain day, which would be the end of January, first week of January. Go ahead and sign up now. We'll guarantee your lights. If not, please do not message us. You are in the queue. And then if they message you in the middle of the month, say, hey, we want our lights down now. All right, well, if you want us to bump you up on the priority list, it's going to be an extra $75. If not, the guys are going in order. We let you know this back in December, and we can't guarantee it other than we'll be back by February 1st.
Yep.
And then take advantage of your current customers and lock them in for 2024. Get them on a payment program. Some of them might just want to give you the deposit now and not even worry about it. Just say, here's the deposit. Or if you want to say, here, give me 30, 40% deposit, we'll lock you in. That's fine too. You can do it that way. You don't have to do the payment program. Some of them don't want to deal with that. They have the money. They have the resources. I've seen people pay 50% in January for their following year install. So, give them different options. Don't just do the payment program. We're just doing the payment program because it's new and want to see how that works. And then make sure you're hitting all those potential clients that you had last year. Everybody that told you no, that never got back to you, they're still a potential client. Give them an opportunity to be a client in 2024. And you're also having another touch with them. Let them know, hey, we're still here. Maybe you had a bad experience. Maybe you didn't use anybody. Maybe I don't know what it was, but we're still here for you for 2024.
One thing I was going to add in too, you could do is we reach out to all our clients and send them a letter and give them a discount off our other services we offer, whether it's landscape lighting or permanent lighting or pressure washing, whatever you do. You can, if you have a sister company or whatever, it's the same company. Let them get a discount off of that for being a valued client. People love that. We schedule so much work come the first of the year with that letter, and it's huge, and clients love it. So that's another way you can do that to try to get some other revenue coming in, at the first of the year.
Yes, Hunter. So we do not do any repairs to inventory because we can't guarantee that customer is going to be a customer the following year until they say yes. So, just depending on how catastrophic the repair could be, usually it's just a couple bulbs that might fall off a C9 string or something like that. We'll document it. And then if they are a repeat customer, then our warehouse manager will fix it prior to the guys going out there. But we don't want to invest a lot of time right now into something that might be a possibility. I know we will recycle the inventory regardless, but that's just for a different thing. So we don't want to spend – the goal of the next 10 months until we start doing installs again is just to be as cash flow efficient as possible. So if we're spending hours and hours and hours on doing work for stuff that we don't know is going to be coming back, then we don't want to waste that money until we know it's a hard yes. Hopefully that answers.
Biggest thing is, like you said, document it. We have takedown sheets that the guys fill out, like what gets taken down of the house. And on that, they would write, hey, this bulb's broken off, or the bulb's out, or strand was bad, or whatever it is. A wreath. We had a wreath that, like, I'm guessing had fallen off or something. It was bent. So, like, you'd put that on their bent wreath. We need to replace the wreath next year. So then that way we know that going into next year to go install the job that we replace it.
Well, Hunter, that was a perfect segue into the next topic. I personally think that takedowns are just slightly more important than installs in the fact of when it comes to the following season. If your team doesn't take the proper time and training, you don't train your team properly to do the takedowns, you're setting yourself up for failure in the following year installs. By doing a proper training, documentation, and removal of your lights in a systematic order, you're going to help increase your reinstall capacity and efficiency the following year. So by doing things a certain way every single time, and everybody understands that this is the way that we're going to do it, one crew is not going to do it this way and another crew is not going to do it that way, that everybody is on the same page for the takedowns. They're documenting the videos, they're documenting the pictures, they're documenting their takedown sheets, they're labeling everything the proper way when they're doing it. They're making notes of anything that's damaged. Hold on one second. I got a phone. Can you jump on this real quick?
Yeah.
Let's see who's got the board.
So you just want to make sure what he was saying, everything's documented. You have way more time during takedown to make sure all this is right than you do on install. So if you don't take the time properly to mark this all up and do this properly, then your reinstalls next year, instead of taking 2/3 of the time, it might wind up taking 90% of the time or 85% of the time. So you just want to make sure that this is dialed in and it's right. We had a crew leader last year that did terrible installs and didn't mark stuff up and whatnot. So this year, when guys went to install, they figured that out and they saw the issues. So now all of our crew leaders are like, yeah, we got to do this right. We got to be on our A game. That sucked. We don't want to deal with that next year. So they felt that pain, and now they don't want to do that again. So now they're all making sure, and they're all holding each other accountable. We had a whole training for takedown last Friday, and it was they were in there for a couple hours. We sat in our conference room. They all went over it. Everybody, not just crew leaders, it was everybody. They all went over how we do it, how we lay it out, what is the process, and how we go about it. And then, like I said, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, they're pretty much they're only doing like maybe 3 or 4 jobs each on takedown, which is lighter. And so they're not feeling rushed. They take the time to make sure they're doing it right, getting everybody trained up on the crews. And then next week, when we hit it on the 2nd, everybody's going to hit it hard, and they'll be doing, a lot more, I guess, revenue, but a lot more jobs and takedowns.
All right. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Delivery signature required, or else they're going to walk off with it. For everybody who's watching, we got 53 people watching right now. Go ahead and just drop a comment. Are you getting some value out of this? Heart emoji, whatever it is, thumbs up, muscles. I don't care what it is. We just want to make sure everybody's getting a ton of value out of this. It's a very informal training, but we want to be able to make sure you're able to execute on some things right now before you start doing your takedowns. But most importantly, that the takedown is it's so crucial. I can't tell you how many years that we went and, we go and reinstall the lights, and it's like, what the hell? Where does this one go? And now you're spending 20 minutes trying to figure out where one strand of lights go, when it would have been easier just to redo the whole damn thing anyway. So it's just so important that you take the time to properly document. And I'm sorry I missed what you said, so I'm probably repeating a bunch of stuff because everything you say is so valuable, Ryan. But let's real quick, let's kind of jump on, and you want to pull up your company cam?
Yeah.
Let me see. So one of the most important tools that we use during takedowns and even our installs is Company Cam. You can do this 100 different ways. I love Company Cam because, let me know if you can't share.
How do I share? Do you know?
You should be able to go to present on the bottom. Is that
Oh,
there?
there it is. Yep, yeah, I see it.
And then find the thing. But company cam is so crucial to our company for both the washing and Christmas lights. But every customer has a Christmas light profile, and then they have a takedown profile. They might be combined, I forget. But when the guys go there, one of the first things that they're going to do is they're going to video in company cam and do a documentation of the house. They're going to say that this is the Chinowski house, 115 Belvedere Court, and they always start at the power. So they say the power starts over here on the left side of the house. We have a jumper wire going up, and that video alone will help alleviate a lot of problems. So, I mean, all this stuff is in the cloud. You don't have to worry about it being on your technicians' phones or anything, company iPads or like that. But company cam is just, it's so cheap. It's so efficient and just saves so much time every single year that we use it just religiously. Like everybody has to be on company cam. Is it letting you share?
Yeah, I had to go and change permissions. Just give me a second.
Okay. So not only are we doing videos in company cam, but we're going to do some pictures as well that Ryan's going to show you when you bring up. One thing that we utilize for our takedowns are colored zip ties. This is the older style that we used. I couldn't find the new ones, and I'm going to show you guys a picture real quick. But the colored zip ties help label all our lights when they come down. And while you're pulling up, I'll show this one real quick. So that when the technicians come back for the following year, so we use these colored zip ties. They're little 4-inch zip ties, and these will stay on our lights all year during the takedown, during the install. We actually will loop them through. Most of the male plugs have that little center circle. So we'll loop it through there, or we'll put it around the top of the plug. You don't want to put it through the actual plug itself because then you got to take it off during install. So these little 4-inch zip ties for $8 are just gold when it comes to doing the takedowns. I like those a lot better because these come in like all these different lengths and sizes that just don't make sense. And when you leave those little 4-inch ones up during the install, you cannot see them from the ground.
Okay, let me try this again now.
Let me get that. Oh, let me get rid of that. Yeah, Jason, this is recorded. See if they don't watch it. Let's see. I'll get you a takedown form here in a second. So let me add this to the stage. All right, here we go.
So you can see it?
Yep.
Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go to...
Now, and we're not saying that this is the way you have to do your takedowns. This is just a way that we have found to be very successful during reinstalls. And again, it is so important that your takedown procedures are very well documented, and just when they're brought back to the warehouse, if your lights are wet, that you leave them out to dry out. I don't care if you use the black totes. Ryan and his team uses cardboard boxes. I've seen the milk crates, the vegetable crates, whatever it is. Whatever you use, that's fine. Just keep it consistent. So This is Ryan. What you got here?
So this is a commercial building. It's called Profi. It's like a CPA firm, and there's other offices in there. Normally we do arrows, but I wanted to show you this because it's kind of spread out. It makes you really see it. We always start with blue. It's just what the color we picked. It doesn't really matter, whatever color. So we know that's where the power runs up. And then each run here has its own color. So like, here you'd have blue, orange, and it's going to go up here. It's going to have a red, green here on that female inline, and then on the male that does this ridge line, and then goes across. And then here it's going to be red and purple because there's going to be an extension cord that goes around the chimney. So that way we know that this piece is red and purple and red and green. And then this one is going to be blue and orange and yellow and purple here. So there'll be, I don't know what side the male is. It doesn't really matter. But whatever side the male is, just say it's here. If the inline's there, there's going to be a yellow purple on that inline as well. So the crew, I could literally send somebody there and they're going to know exactly how to do this line. So all that is going to be the whole way across. So same thing, green and yellow here, and then red and orange up here on this peak, and then orange and purple back there on the back of that ridge line. And so this whole thing I could send anybody to go do. But now what I want to show you here is we also we wrap these trees. You can see like this high right here. Each one of these has 3 warm whites. So we know how many's on there. The power cord runs this way, and it ends with a yellow zip tie on the power cord as well. So we mark that up. That's what it looks like at night. Let's see here. We'll go this way. There's 2 more trees. They just got 3 of them on there, and then 3 there as well. They already take the piece of garland off, but these are marked with 3 each. That one has 12. There's an orange zip tie on that one. A blue here on the sign with the timer. We take a picture of where the timer is. That's where the power cord would run to the trees. These 2 bushes have 2 warm whites on them. There is the front entrance. There's where the blue plugs in, and it goes that way. And then the purple goes this way. This one doesn't have a video, but a lot of times when there's a lot of cords like this, we will do a video as well, and we'll walk where the cord goes on the ground, because we found out over a couple of years is pictures are only so good, especially if running the X wire and power cords. So we'll do a video and actually explain to it, and it's so much easier when you're out there installing it. So you can see here on the columns, 2 WW is white wire, warm white, and then it has a purple zip tie that comes up here and goes up to this roof. So you can see here, this is a green zip tie, and there's an orange one up there on that peak. But yeah, I mean, really, you just want to take photos. We also take pictures of the boxes. So those are the 3 boxes for the job before they go on our shelf on the warehouse. So that way we know exactly what the boxes look like. And then here was the question that they're asking for, the takedown sheet. We just make a sheet like this for every job we take down. This was obviously in 2021. We have a new version from last year. But it says the client's name. It says how many bulbs are on the roof line, how many are on the ridge line, and then how many trees, how many total strands are on it, how many are on the cherry tree, how many strands are on the columns, how many on the arborvitaes, 1 piece of garland, 2 timers, and what the timer is set for. And then if there's anything different, like you see here, they had 9 and it was actually 11 trees. What that means probably is we went and did 2 more trees, and they had already made the takedown sheet or something at that point. So they usually make these sheets earlier in the season, and they're sitting there ready for them to go. So that's usually what happens. And then if there was something wrong or messed up, they would just write it here. They would just say that piece of garland was half working. They would just say 1 piece of garland, half lit, needs to be replaced next year. So that way, when we go through, we can look through these on the jobs as they get scheduled, and we can be like, oh, hey, we need to order a piece of garland. So now these are install photos. I'll show you here with the takedown. There's the boxes for this year, and then there's the takedown sheet. So you can see here they added a crepe myrtle this year. So that had 12 strands on a crepe myrtle. So they hand wrote that over there and put it on there. So it's pretty easy. It's not super anything hard or complex, but it's just for us to keep that. Another thing why we do this, people ask all the time, why are we doing this and have all this information? What we learned over the years is my salesperson would go sell this job, right? And instead of it being 233 bulbs, he only bid it at 210 bulbs. Well, we're going to do the job and put on the 23 extra bulbs, right, JC, to make the client happy to do the job we did. Well, now next year, we need to charge the client for that. Because if not, we're going to be off every year. And sometimes it's a lot like on bushes or trees, or the trees have grown, right? And the guys every year, they've been a client for 7 years. Every year they keep adding a strand to every tree. You do 15 trees, you add a strand to it every year. 3 years in, you could be 45 strands more on that job and not realize it. So this gives us the data to look back and say, hey, we need to raise this client's prices. And we have. And clients usually are like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because now we have data and we could show them 3 years ago we only had 8 strands on the arborvitaes, but now we have 15 strands on the arborvitaes because they've grown, and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So now you have the data to be able to go back and tell the client, hey, I need to go up on your pricing.
Yeah, that's super important too, because then you're losing money by not doing that.
No, again, you don't realize it either.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important that your technicians know this, because they need to understand that too. And we explain to them that's part of their bonus program too. Is if we're losing money, then we can't give you a bigger bonus. So they need to be documenting all these things.
Yep. Real quick, Kendra asked who is filling out the diagrams, the office, the techs. The lead tech who's taking the job down fills it out. The office builds the sheet for us off of actually we had one of our VAs do it this year. from the wonderful Angela Bangs found for us, and so they built them out for us, and then the crew leader actually fills it out on the job site, and they also take pictures of the job, even if it's been labeled properly. Like last year, they take pictures of the job, how it's installed this year, and whatnot. That way, we have that in there as well.
So Hunter asked about drawing a map. We used to do the maps on a piece of paper, and we found that we're going to put these on file and then document them and hide them and everything like that. And they were just every year we have to redo the map and redo the map and redo the map. So with this, the way Ryan showed you, we don't have to redo this unless they add something. If they add something, we're just adding a couple of colors or whatever it is. But when we go back and I'll share mine real quick too. Share. When we go back and do this, we're not going to have to redo this map every single year because the zip tie is already on there. The crews will verify the takedown that the colors are there and everything, but it's just one and done. So by having it in company cam, or you don't have to use company, it could be anything, but I love having it digitally so that anybody can access it at any time for any reason. If your salesperson has to go back out there and look at the job because the customer wants to add things, they can go ahead and pull up whatever you had to as well and just go ahead and verify. So that is that. Let me see here. Another thing, yeah. So same thing. We document how many minis that we're using just so that the guys know that, hey, all right, we'll just drop 2 minis here, 1 mini here, good to go. And like Brian said, our lead technicians doing it this way. It's consistent across the board every single time. The one thing I did differently that we're probably going to change the way Ryan does it is we actually draw out the colors to match the zip ties. Brett brought up a great thing. It's like, what happens if one of your guys is colorblind? Well, didn't think about that. But as long as you're doing it and doing something, that's more important than not doing anything at all. And then coming back in 2024 and saying, how the heck did we take this thing down? Here's a quick video I'll show you. Again, it doesn't need to be a rocket science. It doesn't need to be scripted. You just want something that the guys can go back to and just if they have any questions, they can look at the video.
This is Guy Thornton's house. You've got roof line, columns, handrails going down the porch. You've got this tree that's a trunk wrap into spritzers. And then you've got a tree right over here. Power starts right here by the downspout. You've got one inline right here that goes to that tree. You got another inline right here that goes to that tree.
So again, getting something undocumented, video, picture, whatever it is better than not having anything all or saying, it's a small install. We'll figure it out when we get back there. But again, we keep those colored zip ties on our strands of lights when we do the reinstall. So we're not taking those off. We use large clear zip ties to kind of bundle them together, but then we use those small 4-inch zip ties on the males for everybody to see what they are.
This one real quick of a house with the arrows. So this is the way I really like them to do it is they use the arrows. This was actually done out of company cam, probably like on our iPads, but now the arrows with company cam look a little different, but it's the same concept. So we do the same thing. And as you start doing a larger roof here, because you'll see how large this house is, you just have to start doubling the colors up. So I just wanted to show that where it's like orange, blue, red, blue. So that's where the power comes up. And they start getting doubled. It comes out here. We do this tree. You can see here, it might be hard to see there, but I have a line drawn right here. We do that on the trees to show how high we went on the tree because sometimes it's hard to see in the photo during the day. So we draw a line there to show how high it goes. And then let's see. Whoops, I just went out of it. It's not what I wanted to do. I want to show this photo. So then we go to the side of the house over here and we do the colors on the side of the house as well. So now I can send anybody here. This one right here, why it's blue and yellow here, is we're showing that there's an X cord that runs from here to power this one. You could also have dropped it down here, but it was just easier for my guys when they're up on that ridge line to go from there to there. So they plugged it in there and it connects there. So that's the only reason why that's done there. So they kind of know that the X cord runs from there. But you can see this is really clean and really easy. I could probably label this house up in about like 10, 15 minutes. What we do is we take a picture of the lights with the lights on when we get there. of everything. And then as the crew, at this house, I would tell them, hey, start taking the tree down. And while I'm labeling this, and then if there was just a roof line, I would tell them, hey, let's start on the front of the house here where this is blue, and they would start taking stuff off. And as they're taking off, I tell them what color zip ties to put on it as I'm marking it. I would say like, hey, take this front peak off, put a blue zip tie on the right and a red zip tie on the left. And so they would start doing that. So it's really easy for them to do it. It's really quick. And then it's all set, ready for us to install this house next year. And, that way you're ready to go.
All right, and we'll get wrapping this up here soon. Appreciate everybody for your patience and listening. For everybody that's commented, liked, you guys are incredible. We're doing this for you, and we hope you have great success. Not only this past season, but this will set you up for success going into 2024. And so all our teams, we have 5 install crews. We'll have 4 takedown crews. They get a binder. Inside their binder, they have a bunch of highlighters. Don't ask me what this is for. I'm going to have to ask Liz. They've got a color with a day, so I assume that they're going to highlight their name once let me close this before I lose my pens everywhere. They'll highlight the name once they're done. So it looks like I was wrong. They're going to go from the furthest out to the shop and work their way back, but we've already mapped everything out. So they know if there's a highlight on here, there's a reason for it. So if it's yellow, it says pay for the early takedown. So they're obviously a priority. Need lift, pay for takedown by January 14th. So they don't just show up to a job and say, well, we can't do this because X, Y, Z. No lift needed, which means we installed it with a lift, but don't need a lift to do the takedown. So as they go through, they'll highlight their names, and then they just know that they're not wasting time going from here to here to here to here. We've already mapped it all out for them, and they'll just go in order that way. So they have all their zip codes in there. We have these clear packing envelopes that we use that we will slap on to the black and yellow totes. We found those to be the most efficient as far as staying on. We do use the Dymo printer for these labels right here, and I'll show you what those are. But sometimes in the humidity in the Connex box or the storage units, those will come off. But this is so important too. And I'm going to share a video with everybody in here. Let me see if I can post it real quick. I'll share our takedown video, how to store things, but just some things that we put on here just to make it easier for our warehouse manager and for the guys to know what they're doing. But we store everything by zip code. When we put everything away, we don't do it alphabetical order. We just do it by zip code. And then we have a sheet that's labeled out, which is in the video I just shared. You can see how we do that. Some customers just have 1 tote, some have 10 totes. So we want to know that too, who the customer is, their address. Bulb year is important because we do have 2 different bulbs. We switched over to the Pro Christmas bulbs, I think 3 years ago. And some of our customers have the older style bulb, so that when we're doing repairs, it's easier to know that, hey, this is the old style bulb or this is the Pro Christmas bulb. They have both on the trailer. But that'll also tell us too, if it's like a 2016 bulb and the customer renewed, we're going to go ahead and just swap all those bulbs out this year prior to going to the job, because even if we can just save 1 callback with 1 bulb going out or something, usually if it's that old, there's going to be 2 or 3. That's going to be saving us time for going back and doing things. So documenting your bulb years is important too. The quantity of the minis, I've seen people put the color as well too. For us, that's not really as important. The number of reefs we put up there and the size. And same thing with garland and bows. Not all our garland gets bows. All our wreaths do get bows. But having that documented, because when we store our stuff, we don't store our wreaths and garland with a customer name. If they got a 48-inch wreath this year, they're going to get a 48-inch wreath the next year. It doesn't matter which one it is. They're all the same. We only get from one manufacturer. Christmas designers for that. Thank you, Roz. But that's the only manufacturer we use for wreaths and garland. The only times we do have a one-off is if we do like a multicolor wreath or something like that, but that's in
decorated or something like that.
Prior to going out there. But even then, we don't document that too, because we have like 20 multicolor, we have 20 candy cane, we have 20 Buddy the Elf ones. So we'll spend more time trying to find a label for their name for that wreath versus just go grab any wreath and put it up there. So that's one thing that we just don't worry about documenting. There's my girl, Roz. Roz, I was just telling a story about when I did oh god, what's the heck's name? Mr. Beast. To the kids last night. That was a great one. I'm gonna share that one soon. I did share the YouTube video. You guys can go take a look at. Hopefully that showed up on Facebook. If it didn't, I'll put it in there. That shows how we do our takedowns. Ryan, I think you guys do the same thing. We put all our 48-inch reeds in Gaylords. We have a 40-foot container that we hang all our garland in. We don't put ours back in trash bags because it helps eliminate having to do more fluffing in the season. So we have the luxury of having a 40-foot container with literally hundreds of pieces of garland just hanging, so that when we take the lights, when we take it out of the container in November, it requires less fluffing versus throwing in a bag. It's just something we have the option to do, so we do it, but it does take up a lot of space. If you don't have space is a huge commodity for takedowns. Then it's something not something you want to do. Do you always store the minis? Yeah, everything. Yep. So any jumpers, spritzers, minis, yeah, everything we can goes in. The only thing that we don't put in there is wreaths, bows, and garland, greenery. Any type of greenery is it's universal. That doesn't matter. But yeah, all those minis, we've got customers that have just 3 totes full of minis, and we'll go back there too.
The one thing I was going to add on that is for us, we don't have the container. We're going to put the garland we put it in Gaylords, and so you can just lay it in there. So that works really well too, rather than stuffing it in a small box or a bag or something like that. So you can do that as well. And then the only time we will keep certain wreaths and garland together is like we have some like really large jobs that like a neighborhood entrance, and we have all of their stuff that fits in a Gaylord. So we'll put that whole job in there. So then when we go do that big $20,000 neighborhood, that whole Gaylord just gets taken off the shelf and put into the truck or the trailer, and it's ready to go. So like some of those big jobs, we keep the wreaths and garland together, but your run-of-the-mill everyday house or even a small neighborhood that's 2 wreaths, it's just going to go into like the surplus, like you're saying, JC. So that's the only caveat is some of our commercial stuff doesn't. It stays with it.
Yeah, Tracy, we put our wreaths in a Gaylord, and then we'll cover it with plastic, and it's no issues with that.
The bows.
Bows, yeah, that too. Yeah, the 60-inch wreaths we hang on our pallet racks. We just put them straight up vertically, and side by side. 48-inch we'll stack into a Gaylord, and the bows, same thing. We'll put them in a Gaylord. We'll just cover it with plastic, and they sit there all season.
And we built a rack. We built a rack on top of the very top of 2 sections of our pallet racking, and it's where we can't get the forklift in because there's a pallet rack in front of it, and that's where we stack our 60s, 72s, and some of the 48s and stuff too that are like that we just don't have room in Gaylords for. So,
all right, we're getting ready to wrap up. We're a little over an hour, so if you have questions, go ahead and drop them below, so we can try and answer as many as we can before that. But again, just it's super important to take the time on Tuesday or Wednesday when you get your team back from a long break, and just document your takedown process and make sure you're verifying it. Don't just trust that they did everything. Sometimes the crews get tired, they get lazy. It's really important to be efficient in January because you have no revenue coming in. All that money already came in, more than likely for most people, back in the last 3 months. So you got to make sure that your crews are being efficient and not spending 4 hours on what could be a 45-minute install. Some key important tools for when we do our initial install training, we do the install training, we do a takedown training, but we just drive into their head. Like, when you guys install these lights, we do not want to get a ladder out. So when they do the installs, the name of the game, the goal is to not bring a ladder out. I mean, some houses we have to. They can use a water-fed pole to get down all the lights from a roof line safely without damaging the property and never touching a ladder. That's a huge win. So that's why it's super important that you do talk about the takedown during your install as well too. So if you're going to do this year, then you need to know to put it into your training next year. So these are the Gaylord boxes. U-line's the best way to get them. I don't care where you are. Well, if I order U-line right now, it will be at my door tomorrow. I think they ship out of Georgia actually.
They have come out of Brazelton right up the street. We get them to ship it. It's we could go pick it up. We used to, but it's like $50 for them to deliver it for us, and it'll literally be here. If I order it right now, it'd be here tomorrow. For me. So
crazy.
it's they have we use their tape guns. We buy literally we just got our order yesterday. So I got a free Yeti cup from them right there. Sitting on my desk.
Got a chair in the back in my under my truck seat that I use for camping.
Yeah. So they're awesome. They have double walled, they have triple walled. It all depends what you want to do. The double walled are fine. If you're gonna stack them, you might want to get triple walled. They cost more. So I'm not logged in. I just went to their real quick to search this. So I don't know if that's the exact price or whatnot.
I think that's what we use too.
Yep. So yeah, but yeah, Uline's awesome.
Yeah, and they fit right on a pallet too, so it's great. But yeah, so just take the time to do the training. If you don't have company cam, go ahead and sign up for it now, just to get used to it, get some training on it. I shared the video for Facebook or for YouTube for our takedowns. If you guys have any questions, girls have any questions, just go ahead and ask us. Reach out to Ryan and I. You know, we started Beyond the Bulbs this year, to help industry professionals like yourself to be more successful. And we're excited for 2024 because we learned a lot from everybody within the group, and we learned a lot what we need to do better this year to make it even more successful. But without having small collaborations and small tribes like that, you're setting yourself up for failure. But by being on here today, we've had 43 people consistently on this call for the last hour and 7, up to 60-something people. Hopefully you got something good out of this to set yourself up for success next week, so that when you go back and do that reinstall in October, November, December, you're like, wow, like that was so much easier. Your crews are thanking you. Like our crews literally thanked us last year and said, why didn't we do this sooner once we implemented doing the colored zip ties and drawing it? Because they used to have to sit there and draw on a paper a map, and it was just so tedious. The map would get ruined if it's raining out. So it's so important that they don't say, well, I'll draw the map when I get back to the shop, because they're not going to. I'll do this later, because they're not going to. If the lights are wet, make sure to leave them out so they dry out. Get those little packets. If you could pull those up real quick, maybe, Ryan, the packets to put into your boxes to help keep the moisture out.
The silica packs.
Yeah, we keep them in a 40-foot container. We have no ventilation, and we've never had any issues with mold or anything like that. So, but there's little silica packets that you'll find in your shoes that you can buy that help pull the moisture out of
there it is,
out of your light the lights when you're doing that.
These things.
Yeah.
They have some really bigger ones that you can buy. They're like that big, and you can put them in the Gaylords. They have smaller ones for the totes. The totes you want to drill little holes in, so if they have water, they don't stay in there. And also put these in there. But you can see the different sizes here of them. And the big ones come in like a big metal tub, so they stay watertight. But yeah, definitely buy these as well. We had some questions popping in here real quick, JC.
Yeah, I'm pulling them up.
Okay.
The takedown video, it should be in the comments, Gerald. If not, once I jump off, I'll be sure to add it, and I'll find you. Sorry, we don't have a takedown video. I have a video that I posted for storage. I will be doing a takedown video next week, though. I'll be out there. I'll have my team edit it and post it up on how we do that. So, Hunter, that's a good question. And for me to answer that for you, every answer is going to be different from different business owners. For me, it's how much did I want to work? What was more important for me, like having more profit or working less, and the combination of both. This year, again, I said we used less team members, and we're able to do more. So, at that point, it really just comes down to efficiency. Are you pricing right? And are you training your team properly to get out there and make the numbers for you? So I know I worked a lot less at that 500 to $1 million mark than I did 100 to 500,000. So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to figure out what you need.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I was going to say the same thing. Is I think we're being more efficient now, and we're making more money. But with that, I have a lot more higher level people working in the company. So, it's like you said, I'm not working as much on the things that I don't enjoy doing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like I'm doing what I really enjoy doing, and it gives me the time to be able to do this, do Beyond the Bulbs, that kind of stuff, because I'm not having to be out there take down lights. I'm not having to be out there installing. I did go out a couple days when I had to, and I know you did too, JC. I had to get a big job done. I was in a lift for 8 days, and I enjoyed it, but it's not where I had to be, So it's one of those things that I think it's going to be different for everybody. But the biggest thing is you always want to be profitable, but you got to weigh that out with how much time and effort are you putting into it at the same time, I guess.
Color zip tie. Go back in the video, Dylan. Once we get off, it just kind of tells, we label every single male plug or every single run that we're pulling down with a colored zip tie, so the guys know how to do the reinstall. Store lights and black stash bags works perfect. You know what? I don't care if you use black, clear cardboard boxes, crates. Whatever you use, whatever works for you. Just keep it consistent. But I do know as you grow, I mean, I said we had 400 customers last year. We have a 40-foot container. We have 3 storage units. We have our warehouse. We have a 40-foot container of garland. We love the black and yellow totes. They are expensive, but they are great and just make for easy, efficient storage. Ryan uses cardboard boxes, which are half the price, and they last many seasons. So whatever you use, just use it and just be consistent with it. The packs, I think we use one. Just get the bigger one, Seth, and you should be good. But again, last year we didn't use any at all, and we had no mold issues or anything like that. So
yeah, we don't either.
When you're trying to add on services when taking down lighting, you're all calling, text, email. Yeah, I think we send out an email next week as well, offering $50 for gutter cleaning while they're on the job site.
Yeah, we do a handwritten envelope. I'll give you a little tidbit here of a handwritten envelope because nobody gets handwritten letters in the mail hardly anymore unless it's like right at Christmas time. So we wait until after the first of the year, and they're red or green. They don't have a return address, so I open them, and it's a letter with really nice pictures of our services, and it pretty much says, "Hey, this is how much you get off of our service. Your first service does not count for your next Christmas light install, but it would count for landscape lighting, permanent lighting, bistro lighting, gutter cleaning, power washing, that kind of thing." And so we send that out. You can also follow up with an email as well, double touches, but just trying to find a way to get in front of them.
Take a picture of the gutter state down. We stopped doing gifts a while ago. I wanted to get back into it this year for our bigger clients. We used to do wine bottles with custom labels on them. We just go buy $4 bottles of wine from Trader Joe's and slap custom labels of our team and the logo on there. That was a lot easier when we had fewer clients. A couple of our clients did get some packages this year in the mail, like a $250 gift basket for one of them. That's been a really high value client. So we do send out some stuff, but we just can't do it from everybody. We send out thank you cards to everybody that the kids sign every single year, but trying to get it for everybody is really hard when you're growing. Yeah, the cards get out to them. We have a picture of our team, and my kids sign the cards for them.
One thing we did, JC, instead of giving everybody a gift, anybody that referred somebody to us and we closed the deal, they had got $100 gift certificate to a steakhouse like of their choice, like a nice steakhouse. So the client would call them up and say, "Hey, you referred this person. What's your favorite steakhouse?" And they would tell us, and we'd go buy them a $100 gift card and get it sent to them. So I think that's really cool. It's really personable. We had a job up the street from a job, and I was on my way home, and they had a call that said a tree was unplugged or something. So I ran by myself. And it's a really good client of ours, a raving fan. And I told him, I said, "Thanks for the client, getting us a client up the street." They signed up, and he got us to the other neighbor, but they didn't sign up. I said, "What's your favorite steakhouse?" He told me, and I said, "Hey, you'll be getting a steakhouse gift certificate for $100 in the mail for there." And he's like, "Are you serious? That's awesome." But he's a raving fan. He's like your ideal fan. Client. He's done Christmas lights every year. Pays for his son's house. They've done like 3 landscape lighting jobs with us. Like they if we offer it, they want it. So for me to spend that $100 is a drop in the hat. For us.
All right. If there's no other questions, be sure to start executing on some of the things. Hopefully, you got some great information from this. Share some wins with us if you do execute on the $150 takedown, priority takedown, or whatever you price it out at. Let us know if you got some recurring revenue coming in over the next couple months, if any clients sign up for that. These are just some things that we do. There's so much more value that we can give and offer to y'all within Beyond the Bulbs. So just want to throw that out there too, to just get some information about Beyond the Bulbs, because we talk about all these high level things throughout the year. How to get more commercial clients is going to be the big thing we push over the next 3 months. And so that we're not waiting until July, because I know some of you listening, like this past year, you wait till July or August to start doing your marketing. your marketing needs to start now. Your marketing start tomorrow. Your marketing start next Tuesday after New Year's. Let them know, hey, you can be our client in 2024 by signing up right now. Don't wait until September, October, November to start reaching out to them. Start executing early because you want to be in their face throughout the year. But I'm pretty dry and my hydrogen bottle is empty. So, Ryan, you got anything else?
No, I was just going to say, if you have any questions or have anything, just reach out to me and JC. We're always here to help. If we'll take some time and, get back to you. And then if you want any more information about Beyond the Bulbs, also reach out to us. It's a great program where we give so much more value there, and we're going to take it even to the next level this year than what we did last year. Like JC said, it's, we learned just as much as everybody else did in the group. And so, just like anything, if we're not becoming better, then we're going backwards, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're all trying to go forward. And that's what's great about that community is it's a like-minded community of everybody that's actively trying to grow their business and move forward. They don't barely want to grow. They want to grow like by leaps and bounds. So if that sounds like you, reach out to us, let us know. We'd love to have you in there. And then if not, I hope everybody has a great happy new year and has a great takedown, season.
Oh, and if anybody uses the black and yellow totes, like those right there, they are on sale at Costco right now. I just went and picked up a whole pallet of them. I think they come $44 to a pallet, $8.99. That's probably the cheapest I've seen them not on sale in years. I think last year they had them at like $13. So that is not a sale price. That is their current price. So just go ahead and take advantage of that now. Might as well pay for it now if you're going to use them next week anyway, just to kind of help offset some of your expenses. But $8.99. Again, I don't care what you use. Trash bags, cardboard boxes, Gaylords for everything. Just be consistent, document it, and I hope everyone had a great year. So excited for 2024. I'm already counting down for the install for next year. So it's bittersweet coming to the end of the season, but I'm so glad to be able to share some extra value with everybody and Ryan at the end of the year. I hope everyone had a great Christmas and has an incredible happy new year. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.